A.V. Rajwade, director at A.V. Rajwade and Company, who joins in on the show. Mr. Rajwade, perhaps a step in the right direction with the RBI clarifying on the overseas direct investment, saying that the curbs will not be applicable for deals before the 14th of August. To take off from what our previous guest said, do you think that this is a message in the right direction, saying that the reserves that we currently have are sufficient?
I think it depends. As I've been arguing for quite some time, that only RBI intervention will stop the downward pressure on the rupee. I think we have seen that happening 2 or 3 times in the last couple of weeks. I think the big question before me in terms of looking at whether this means that the rupee would be stabilized, I think there are 2 big questions in my mind. Number one is that whether that stability or RBI's intervention and strengthening of the rupee would be taken advantage of by existing FII investors to get out. So I think that is point number one. Point number 2 also is that if anything hots up in Syria or in the Middle East, I think the impact on oil prices and therefore on our deficit, I think, is going to be pretty significant. So I think it's too early from my viewpoint to say that things have stabilized. I think the basic problems remain: the huge gap, the need to attract capital, and whether we'll be able to attract the capital on the needed scale, or whether RBI can keep intervening and without sort of that affecting the sentiment of the existing investors in the Indian market.
Mr. Rajwade, so before we let you go, but just one question, aside of the fact that they've mentioned that commitments before August 14, 2013 have automatic approval, the other bit that they've done wherein they've reversed or retained the limit of 400% versus 100% earlier, why these messages being sent out now? Is it a sign of more comfort irrespective of what happens to the currency? I think I take it more as a sign of a change in the regime rather than reading much more into it. After all, I think they realize, perhaps too late, that that change to 100 wasn't going to affect the big boys in any case, because for them, for the larger groups, 100% was good enough to make billions of investments outside India. It would affect only the smaller investors, and curbing the smaller domestic enterprises from investing abroad is not going to do much good to India's FDI flows going outside. So I think they realized that probably, and that plus the change in regime technically to take place tomorrow. I think these are the 2 reasons for that change. Okay, Mr. Rajwade, we'll leave it at that. Thanks so much for joining in and giving us that quick perspective.